4,000 years ago, a Babylonian priest watched a single star climb over the horizon at dawn, and believed it was writing the story of a kingdom. 2,000 years after that, Hellenistic astrologers mapped the sky into a language of houses, lords, and time. And tonight, we're going to prove that this ancient code still works, if you know how to read the signal. Welcome to the Return of the Sky. I'm Maya Osei, and this is Episode 1. Ancient Code, Modern Signal. Tonight my guest is Dr. Amara Okafor, a researcher who spent 20 years rebuilding the lost engine room of astrology, the old techniques that modern practice forgot. Amara, welcome to the show. Maya, thank you. I've been waiting for someone to ask the question this episode is built on. What happens when you take the ancient engine, Babylonian omens, Hellenistic houses, Vedic lunar mansions, and plug it into the modern mind? The answer, I think, is a revolution hiding in plain sight. Then let's not wait another minute. Pull back the curtain. Let's start with a confession. Most people know astrology through sun signs and apps. You're a Leo, so here's your week. But the ancient system was nothing like that. It was a technology, built to be precise. So where did the real astrology go, and why did we settle for the silhouette? The honest answer is, they did engineering, and we kept the marketing. The Babylonians built the first predictive system out of planetary omens around 1800 BCE. The Greeks, specifically Hellenistic astrologers like Ptolemy, Valens, and Dorotheus, systematized it into a technical craft between the 2nd century BCE and the 4th century CE. They had a full engine, Time Lords called chronocrators, planetary periods, profections, annual returns, aspects, dignities, sect, combustion, retrogradation. Meanwhile the Indian tradition, Jyotish, kept an unbroken lineage of nakshatras, dashas, and divisional charts running for over 2,000 years. Here's the part that shocks people. The modern sun sign horoscope uses roughly 5% of that engine. We lost the transmission. The techniques survived in manuscripts, but the practice collapsed into personality description. My entire career has been about recovering that lost 95%, and then, crucially, translating it into a language the 21st century can actually use. So when you say ancient code, modern signal, the code is the technique, and the signal is, what exactly? The signal is the person. A human being is not a personality sticker. A human being is a system, a dynamic, contradictory, evolving system. And the ancients, without knowing the word systems theory, built exactly that. A system for modeling systems. Time Lords model change over time. Houses model environments. Aspects model relationships between internal drives. The Babylonians modeled probability before probability was invented. They tracked which omens actually recurred. My work is translating that ancient systems modeling into modern psychology, modern complexity science, and modern lived experience. That's the synthesis this episode is really about. I love that framing. So let's go layer by layer, starting with the foundation the whole ancient world stood on, the 12 houses. And specifically, whole sign houses. This is one of those techniques that modern astrology dropped, and you've argued it changes everything. Tell us why. Because whole sign houses are not just a technical choice, they're a philosophy of space. In whole sign, the first house is the entire sign of Aries rising, the second house is the entire next sign, and so on. Every house is a whole sign. This was the default system for Hellenistic astrology. Valens used it, Ptolemy used it, and it does something beautiful. It makes the chart readable as a coherent narrative. You can describe a chart in plain sentences. Your life force sign is Aries, your resources sign is Taurus, your communication sign is Gemini. It restores the ancient principle that a sign is a territory, and a planet inside that territory is a presence inside that domain of life. Modern quadrant systems fragment that territory with arbitrary degree-based cusps, and in doing so they quietly fragment the story. Here's my original spin on it. I call it the whole sign biography. Read the chart as a 12-chapter biography, where each chapter is a whole sign. The ascendant sign isn't just how you appear. It's the opening chapter, the founding premise of the self. The 4th house sign is the childhood chapter. The 10th is the public chapter. When you read whole sign, the biography is continuous. One chapter leads naturally into the next. And that continuity is exactly what makes it a powerful modern tool for life story reconstruction, narrative therapy, identity work. You're not reading fragments. You're reading a person's arc. And the practical solution attached to this. How does someone actually use the whole sign biography in real life? 3 steps. First, get your birth chart in whole sign format. Any serious astrology software can do it in one click. Second, identify which planet rules each house's sign. That gives you the author of each chapter. Third, read the sequence. The technique I teach is called chapter weaving. You take the current house that a transiting planet is passing through. Say Saturn is in your 5th whole sign house. And you treat it as the current chapter being written. Saturn in the 5th is not bad luck with romance. It's the chapter where the theme is creative responsibility, where the protagonist must learn to build love and art with discipline. The solution? Stop asking what's happening to me, and start asking, what chapter am I in, and what is this chapter asking the protagonist to become? That single reframe, from event astrology to chapter astrology, is, I believe, the most powerful practical gift the ancient whole sign method gives the modern world. That's already worth the price of admission. But you mentioned the ancients also thought about rulership, the idea that every planet has a home sign. That's the traditional rulerships. And you've said modern astrology scrambled this. How? Traditional rulership is the ancient operating system for identity. Here's the key. The ancients gave each planet exactly one home sign. Mars rules Aries and Scorpio. Venus rules Taurus and Libra. Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo. The Moon rules Cancer. The Sun rules Leo. Jupiter rules Sagittarius and Pisces. Saturn rules Capricorn and Aquarius. Modern astrology added 3 outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and reassigned Aquarius, Pisces, and Scorpio to them. On paper that looks like an upgrade. In practice, it broke the chain of meaning. When you use traditional rulerships, every sign has an ancient, coherent lineage. The sign's qualities flow directly from the planet's mythology. Aquarius returns to Saturn, the disciplinarian, the builder of structures, and suddenly Aquarius's revolutionary, systematic genius makes ancient sense. Scorpio returns to Mars, the warrior, and Scorpio's intensity, its will to transform through conflict, clicks into place. This restoration matters because it gives every chart a clean, predictable rulership logic you can actually teach, verify, and use. And that's the foundation of my first original model, the polyphonic self. The polyphonic self. Say more. Here's the theory. Postmodern psychology, thinkers like Hermans and Marcus, gave us the idea that identity is not one voice but many. The inner critic, the inner child, the public persona, the shadow. My model says, the traditional planets are the voice architecture of that polyphonic mind. The Sun is the central executive voice, the ego narrator. The Moon is the somatic emotional voice, the body's memory. Mercury is the analytic voice. Venus is the relational aesthetic voice. Mars is the assertive protective voice. Jupiter is the meaning-making voice. Saturn is the structural voice, the boundary setter. And the signs they rule are the dialects those voices speak. Your chart, read this way, is a parliament, not a personality type. Here's the original application. I call it voice mapping. Take your 7 traditional planets, locate them by sign and house, and for each one answer one question. What does this voice want, and when does it get to speak? Most suffering, in my clinical observation, comes from voice dictatorship. One voice dominates, others are exiled. The Sun-heavy chart has an ego that won't listen. A Saturn-heavy chart has a critic running the whole parliament. The practical solution: identify the exiled voices and give them scheduled airtime. Someone with an exiled Mars needs deliberate physical assertion, martial arts, honest confrontation, boundary practice. Someone with an exiled Moon needs deliberate emotional hygiene, journaling, somatic work, safe attachment. The parliament metaphor isn't a poetic garnish. It's a working model for integration work. And the ancients built the parliament. We just had to rediscover the wiring. So rulership isn't trivia. It's a map of the Psyche's committee. And that brings us to the deep time dimension, the ancient Time Lord systems. Hellenistic astrology had something called Time Lords, and Vedic astrology has the Dasha system. Explain how these ancient clocks work, because they're the opposite of modern predictions. This is my favorite subject, because time is where astrology gets its teeth. The ancients refused to read a chart as a snapshot. They read it as a film. Hellenistic astrologers assigned each planet a period of years. The Sun gets 19, the Moon 25, Mercury 20, Venus 8, Mars 15, Jupiter 12, Saturn 30. And they'd walk the native's life forward through these periods like a sequence of directors. Each period, the ruling planet becomes the director of the life film. Its sign, house, and aspects color everything that happens in those years. The Vedic tradition developed this into the most sophisticated time system on Earth, the Vimshatari Dasha, a 120-year cycle of planetary periods of varying lengths, running from the moon's position at birth, continuously and precisely. No interpretation, pure calculation. The dashas are famous for their eerie accuracy. A person enters a Saturn dasha, and without knowing anything about astrology, their life suddenly takes on Saturn's signature: weight, structure, delay, legacy. My original contribution here is a synthesis I call the return loom. The idea: weave the Hellenistic annual profections, where each birthday advances the chart one whole sign, together with the Vedic dasha timing, and use the solar return chart, the chart of the exact moment the sun returns to your birth degree each year, as the loom's annual frame. The result is a 3-layer timeline. The dasha gives the decade scale era. The profection gives the year scale chapter. The solar return gives the month scale weather. Each layer modifies the others, like a braided thread. Practically, I teach clients to build their own return loom. Know your current dasha era, your profection year, and your solar return emphasis, and suddenly you have a map of the next 12 months that is specific, testable, and surprisingly predictive. The solution isn't prediction for its own sake. It's timing intelligence. You stop fighting your Saturn year and start building with it. You stop wasting your Jupiter year on small bets. The ancients called this Kairos, the right time. We lost Kairos. The loom gives it back. And the beautiful thing is, this isn't fortune telling. It's timing intelligence, the same principle that drives markets, seasons, and circadian biology. The sky is just the oldest clock we never learned to read. The nakshatras are, to me, the single most underrated treasure in all of astrology. The moon travels through 27 mansions, each about 13 degrees and 20 minutes wide, each with its own deity, symbol, myth, and quality. Where Western astrology gives you 12 broad signs, the nakshatras give you 27 precise lenses. And the moon's nakshatra at birth, the Janma nakshatra, is treated in Vedic tradition as the soul's signature. Here's my original theory, and I'm rather proud of it. I call it the nakshatra neural net. Think of the 27 nakshatras as nodes in a recurrent neural network. A network with memory, where each node's meaning is defined not just by itself, but by its connections to neighbors. In the ancient scheme, each nakshatra belongs to one of 3 ganas: deity-like, human-like, or demon-like, and is governed by one of 9 planetary lords cycling through the sequence. The genius of the system is that it's relational. The 9th mansion, Ashleisha, the clinging one, coiled like a serpent, gets its full meaning only when you see it next to the 10th mansion, Maja, the throne of ancestors. Ashleisha's intensity feeds Maja's authority. Maja's pride needs Ashleisha's cunning. Modern network science says meaning is emergent. A node is its neighborhood. The ancients encoded that insight 2,000 years early. The modern application: we can use the nakshatra sequence as a developmental map. Each mansion is a stage in a 27-stage arc of psychological development, from Ashwini, the first, the healer's impulse to begin, through the middle mansions of conflict and craft, to Revati, the last, the threshold of completion and compassion. Here's the practical tool. I call it Nakshatra archaeology. Identify your Janma Nakshatra, then identify the nakshatra currently occupied by the transiting moon each day. That's the daily node. And the nakshatra of your progressed moon for the month scale. Read the developmental theme. When the transiting moon crosses your natal sun's nakshatra, that's a micro-threshold day, a day for beginnings. When it crosses your Saturn's nakshatra, that's a consolidation day, a day for finishing. This gives modern people something astrology almost never offers: a precise, daily, psychologically grounded practice that honors an unbroken 2,000-year-old lineage. Not a horoscope column, an operating manual for attention. An operating manual for attention. That's a phrase I'm stealing. Now, let's go deeper into the planetary mechanics. The things even many astrologers find intimidating: dignity, debility, combustion, retrogradation. The hardware of the planets. You've reframed even these. I remember you call combustion the planet in the fire. What does that mean? Combustion. In ancient astrology, a planet is combust when it's too close to the sun, within about 8 degrees, and the tradition said the sun burns it, weakening its expression. My reframe, and it's central to my work: combustion is not damage. It's occlusion. The planet is there, fully powered, but hidden in the sun's glare. Think of it psychologically. A combust Mercury is a mind so fused with the ego narrator that its voice is hard to hear separately. Brilliant, but indistinguishable from the self's story. A combust Venus is a relational capacity hidden behind the central self. The person may not even know how much they love, or how they love, because it's always been in service of the ego's image. Here's the original practical protocol. I call it the shadow protocol, deliberately borrowing from Jung. The combust planet is the sun's shadow bearer. The solution is not to fix the planet. The solution is scheduled occlusion release. Deliberately give that planet's function solo time, away from the sun's domain. If Venus is combust, create a practice of love and beauty that is entirely private, with no audience, no performance. The release valve for the occluded function. If Mercury is combust, schedule unspeakable thinking time, writing that no one will ever read, or walking with no destination, where the mind can wander free of the narrator. And here's the beautiful follow-on. When a transiting planet combusts the sun, passes within 8 degrees, that's an annual occlusion window for that planet's function. It's the universe handing you a scheduled shadow integration appointment. The ancient code said beware. I say, the ancients weren't wrong. They were warning you not to build on unstable ground during the occlusion. But the modern signal is richer: occlusion windows or repair windows. That's the whole philosophy of this episode in miniature. The ancients saw danger. We can see depth, not by discarding their code, but by completing it. And what about the planetary fall and detriment, the so-called weak positions? Same treatment? Detriment and fall are positions where a planet is far from its home or exaltation. Mars in Libra, the peace sign, for the god of war. The moon in Scorpio, the deep sign, for the luminous reflector. Ancient tradition read these as weakness or error. My read, they're foreign assignment positions. The planet is operating in a territory whose native language it doesn't speak. And that's precisely where character is forged. Mars in Libra doesn't mean no assertiveness. It means assertiveness must be learned in the language of relationship. Every fight is a negotiation, every boundary a dialogue. The moon in Scorpio doesn't mean a broken emotional life. It means emotion runs through the deep aquifer. Trust is earned through depth. Feeling is experienced as transformation. The modern solution I call foreign language training. Treat the detrimented or fallen planet as a diplomat learning a new tongue. Give it structured exposure to its foreign sign's native idiom. Mars in Libra. Practice asserting within partnership contexts. Joint decision-making, collaborative negotiation, martial arts with a partner. Moon in Scorpio. Practice emotional depth in safe containers. Therapy, deep friendship, creative transformation work. The ancient's weakness becomes the modern growth edge. Same sky, same code, deeper signal. That's the synthesis. That's the whole episode. Now, the crowd pleaser. Retrogrades. Mercury retrograde has become a global punchline. Oh great, my Wi-Fi will break. But you have a radically different theory of what retrograde actually is. Tell us. I'm glad you asked, because the joke has buried the treasure. In ancient astrology, retrogradation, a planet appearing to move backward against the stars, was treated with deep seriousness. It was the planet turning its function inward. The visible motion reverses, the light appears to dim, the path seems to loop. My theory, retrograde resonance, says, a retrograde planet is a recursion loop in the psyche's code. Think of a software loop. The same subroutine executes again and again, each pass accumulating something, until a condition is met and the loop exits. A retrograde Mercury is a mind that loops. It revisits, re-edits, re-decides. Modern culture has weaponized this into anxiety. I reframe it. The loop is not the problem. The loop is the processing. A retrograde Mercury's recursion is how that mind reaches depth. It can't be shallow, because its nature is to loop until integrated. The practical protocol is what I call loop exploitation. During any retrograde, especially the personal planets, deliberately run the loop instead of fighting it. Mercury retrograde. Reread, rewrite, renegotiate, reunite. Start the projects you shelved, not to finish them, but to re-enter them. Venus retrograde. Re-love. Revisit the relationships that shaped you, not to resurrect them, but to re-understand them. Mars retrograde. Re-fight. Return to the unfinished confrontations, the boundaries you failed to hold, and complete them internally. And here's the original kicker. The retrograde station, the moment the planet appears to stand still before turning, is the loop's checkpoint. In my practice, clients identify their natal retrograde planets. These are lifelong recursion loops, the psyche's persistent subroutines. And we give each one an exit condition. This loop exits when you have written the full story of it, or when you have spoken the unspeakable once. The ancient astrologers saw retrograde as the planet's power turned inward. They were right. And inward power is precisely what our loud, outward world is starving for. Retrograde planets are introversion engines. We should be celebrating them, not memeing them. That reframe alone should get you a TED Talk. Now let's take it up a level, from the individual planet to the whole sky talking at once. The ancient technique of reading the chart as a lattice of aspects. What does the aspect lattice actually show us? Aspects are the grammar of the chart, how planets talk to each other. The Hellenistic tradition formalized 5: conjunction, sextile, square, trine, opposition. The Ptolemaic aspects, the rays of planetary light. Ancient astrologers believed planets literally cast rays at each other across the sky, and the quality of the ray, harmonious or harsh, colored the relationship. My original model upgrades this to the aspect lattice. The chart's aspects form a network, and exactly like a social network or a neural network, the meaning of any single planet is co-determined by its whole neighborhood. A chart is not a collection of isolated planets. It's a graph. The squares and oppositions are high-tension edges, the places the psyche generates friction, heat, and therefore energy. The trines and sextiles are low-tension edges, the places of flow, talent, and unconscious ease. The conjunction is a fused node, two functions welded together. Now the modern application, and it's genuinely practical. We can compute what I call the tension signature of any chart, the ratio of high tension to low tension aspects. High tension charts, mostly squares and oppositions, are friction engines. These people generate enormous heat, and the life task is channeling it. They need structure, sport, discipline, outlets. An unchanneled friction engine burns its own house down. Low-tension charts, mostly trines and sextiles, are flow engines. These people glide, but the danger is the opposite. No heat means no urgency. They can coast for decades. The life task is self-imposed challenge, deadlines, mentors, commitments, anything that manufactures the friction the chart lacks. The modern protocol. Compute your lattice, name your engine type, and design your life around your natural energy topology. Friction engines. Build discipline systems. Flow engines. Build challenge systems. The ancients gave us the edges. We give them the topology. Same code, modern signal. Friction engines and flow engines. I can already hear listeners diagnosing themselves. Now, Amara, let's go even bigger. The charts of nations, of generations, of the age itself. You have a theory about the Great Conjunction Cycle and generational shift. Explain that. The slow planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, move through signs in years and decades, and astrologers have long used them to describe generations. My contribution is to formalize it. I call it the generation lattice. Take the 5 slow planets at any era's collective chart, or at a nation's founding chart, and you get a 5-node lattice. Jupiter's expansion axis, Saturn's structure axis, Uranus's disruption axis, Neptune's dream axis, Pluto's transformation axis. Every era is a unique 5-node pattern, and the pattern predicts the era's collective psychology with surprising fidelity. The 1960s, Uranus conjunct Pluto in Virgo. Disruption fused with transformation in the sign of labor and craft. The dismantling of inherited structures through collective upheaval. The current era, Pluto in Aquarius. Transformation in the sign of networks and revolution. And my thesis is that this is the first lattice node in history that maps directly onto the internet itself. Pluto in Aquarius is the systemic transformation of collective intelligence. But here's my more original contribution, and it's the one I want listeners to take home: the eclipse algorithm. Eclipses have been feared since Babylon. The ancients saw them as the sky being swallowed. The science of eclipse cycles, the Saros, a repeating 18-year and 11-day pattern, was one of Babylon's greatest discoveries. My theory: eclipses are the sky's periodic system reboots. An eclipse is a sun-moon conjunction or opposition near the lunar nodes, the points where the moon's path crosses the ecliptic, and it lands on the same degree of the zodiac roughly every 19 years. Here's the algorithm. An eclipse activates the natal point it touches, and it returns to that point every 19 years. So eclipses on a specific natal degree form a lifetime series of system updates, each one upgrading that domain of life. The practical protocol is simple and powerful. Find every eclipse that falls on your natal sun, moon, ascendant, or midheaven within the last 2 years and the next 2 years. That's your personal upgrade schedule. Treat each as a deliberate system reboot. Before the eclipse, finish what's draining the domain. On the eclipse, make the intention. After the eclipse, let the new architecture settle. The ancients feared the sky's reboots. My message: reboots are how systems stay healthy. The Babylonians gave us the Saros cycle. The modern signal is planned obsolescence of the psyche. You get to consciously version upgrade your life, 19 years at a time. 19-year upgrade cycles. There's something profound in that. The idea that you're not the same system you were, and you're not supposed to be. Speaking of upgrades, let's bring it to the most practical place astrology can go: relationships. What does ancient technique say about synastry, the comparison of 2 charts? Synastry is where astrology becomes truly postmodern, because it's inherently relational. No chart means anything alone. Meaning emerges between charts. And the ancients actually pioneered this. Hellenistic astrologers compared charts through planetary dignity exchange, the mutual reception, where each person's planet sits in the other's home sign, creating an invisible contract of mutual hosting. Vedic astrology developed matching, the comparison of charts for compatibility through lunar mansions and planetary balances. My original model, synastry as signal field, synthesizes both. Think of 2 people not as 2 fixed entities, but as 2 signal fields, and the relationship as the interference pattern where the fields overlap. Where your Mars falls in my chart, that's a signal injection. Your assertiveness enters my assertiveness domain. Where my Venus falls in your chart, your love enters my love domain. The ancient dignity exchange becomes the modern concept of resonance. If your planet sits in my sign, my home territory, we have natural resonance. The signal passes cleanly. If your planet sits in my detriment, the foreign territory, the signal arrives distorted. The work of the relationship is translation. And here's the practical protocol, which I call the interference audit. For any significant relationship, map where each person's 7 traditional planets fall in the other's chart. 12 by 12, a small matrix. Mark each cell, resonance, tension, or depth. Then you have an actual map of the relationship's signal field. Where you amplify each other, where you distort each other, where you deepen each other. The solution it enables is concrete. Stop trying to change the other's signal. Learn the other's language. If your Mars lands in your partner's Libra, their detriment, your directness is experienced by them as aggression. The fix is not to be less direct. It's to translate. Assert in the language of relationship. Ask, negotiate, include. The ancients read mutual reception as an invisible bond, a marriage contract written in the sky. The modern signal. Every relationship is a translation project, and the sky hands you the dictionary. That's practical, that's actionable, that's love as a discipline. Which, by the way, is exactly what the ancients always said it was. The sky hands you the dictionary. I want that on a t-shirt. Now, we've covered houses, rulerships, time, lunar mansions, dignity, retrograde, aspects, generations, eclipses, relationships. Amara, you promised us a solution. A single practical framework that ties all of this together. Give us the full stack. This is the moment I've been building toward all episode. Here's the complete stack, the original protocol I teach, and I'll give it to your listeners in 10 steps. Step 1. Cast the chart in whole sign houses, the ancient territory model. Step 2. Restore traditional rulerships. Map the 7 traditional planets to their ancient homes. That's your voice architecture. Step 3. Run the dignity audit. Exaltation, detriment, fall, combustion, retrograde. Identify your diplomats, your shadow bearers, and your recursion loops. Step 4. Compute your aspect lattice, tension ratio, and name your engine type, friction or flow. Step 5. Identify your Janma Nakshatra and your natal retrograde planets. Your soul signature and your lifelong subroutines. Step 6. Layer the time systems. Your current Vedic dasha, your Hellenistic profection year, your solar return, and build your return loom for the next 12 months. Step 7. Map the eclipse schedule onto your natal points. Your personal upgrade windows. Step 8. Run the interference audit on your 2 or 3 most important relationships. Your translation projects. Step 9. Design your practices. For each element of the stack, 1 concrete practice. Voice airtime for exiled voices. Occlusion release for combust planets. Loop exploitation during retrogrades. Chapter writing for the current house. Step 10. Revisit quarterly. The sky is a clock, and you are the clock's keeper. 10 steps, all ancient code, all modern signal. Any listener can do this with free software and a notebook. And in my 20 years of practice, this stack has produced the most accurate, most useful, most human readings I have ever given. Because it never forgets the founding insight. Astrology is not about the stars. The stars are the original model of human complexity. The code is ancient. The signal is you. Amara, that's a masterclass. And I want to end where we began, with that Babylonian priest, 4,000 years ago, watching the star climb over the horizon. He believed the sky was writing a story. What's the story you think the sky is writing now? I would say, you were right. And your descendants lost your notebook. And we found it. We spent 4,000 years developing the instruments, telescopes, mathematics, psychology, networks. And only now can we finally read your code the way you intended. Not as fate, but as function. Not as fortune, but as design. Not as a prison of prediction, but as an operating system for becoming. The Babylonians watched the sky to know when to plant and when to march. We watch the sky to know when to build and when to heal. Same sky, same code, deeper signal, and the deepest signal of all. You are not a passive reader of your chart. You are its co-author. The sky proposes. You dispose. That is the ancient secret the postmodern world was finally ready to hear. And that's the truth we'll carry into every episode. The Return of the Sky. Episode 1. Ancient Code, Modern Signal, with Dr. Amara Okafor. If tonight's conversation changed the way you see the sky, or yourself, share it with one person who needs it. Subscribe wherever you listen. And remember, the ancients didn't invent astrology to predict the future. They invented it to remember who we are. I'm Maya Osei. Until next time, keep looking up.